Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Monday, the 24th of May. All right, now just having a look at where we are. The dollar, in my view, is pretty evenly balanced. Right after the Fed last week, they've come out and said, we're going to be nimble with policy. We haven't had the driving force, which is extra data to give us the pure dollar direction, but we might get some this week. But we've got to wait a few days to get that dollar data. If you have a look at the currency pairs, right, I'll come back to the bonds and equities in a second. Have a look at the major currencies. Obviously, the dollar index pushing lower, comes back. Euro, I still like the dollar block, as in euro, sterling, Aussie, Kiwi. I still like these currencies to the downside. The dollar, hasn't gone away. The possibility of a strong dollar, earlier sort of action by the Fed, does sort of just give me hope that the dollar is going to sort of jump up a bit. Dollar Swiss still sort of a little bit under pressure, if anything, not really reacting. Dollar yen sideways, as is dollar CAD. Now, as you can see with a lot of these charts, we're going to start adjusting these trend lines, right, to the new lows. You want to just, especially on Monday, right, tune up your charts and your trend lines to the new highs and lows that we saw last week. That's going to give you the best outlook or prospect for finding those entry levels. Euro, well, I'll tell you what, if anything, it's broken down through this level and it's just trading sideways. Looks like down through 121.60, or in particular down through 121.20 euro to the downside. But we want to see some euro or US numbers to really give it a kick. The Aussie and Kiwi, they just look heavy, right? When I say they look heavy, they look like they want to go lower even before the dollar really kicks in. So just coming back to the dollar now, if you just have a look through the data coming out, and we've got some IFO business numbers coming out here Tuesday, right? So keep an eye on this. There's not a lot coming out today, but Tuesday we've got some German numbers. That's going to give us a really good insight into what euro is potentially doing. Then you come down, we get some new home sales. Anything out of the dollar at this point is going to be important, right? So new home sales. What I'm really looking forward to is the durable goods and the GDP second estimate, right? So keep an eye out for that. And then once we get that data out, there's some follow through European economic sentiment numbers, and then you got the PCE price index at the end or close to the end of the week. By then, we're going to have very clear direction on the dollar. If we do get some, variance in the numbers, especially if these numbers are strong, it goes towards the Fed's call that they will be nimble, right? So if you have a look, like when you look at the charts, the currencies are evenly balanced. Look at the equity markets. They're sort of up and down here and there. There's no real traction at the moment. No one really wants to take it on. Right now, the start of the week in the US equity futures are up, but we're not seeing like a risk on profile here in the currencies. In actual fact, if you have a look, the currencies, the market's been open for 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours. They've hardly moved, right? So the market's not interested today. There's not a lot of data coming out, but it will heat up. US Treasuries, not doing a hell of a lot just at the moment, and there's no clear impact from the Treasuries. So we're sort of back to looking at, so almost like normal markets, waiting for the US numbers. See if they're strong or weak. If it's strong, it goes towards the Fed's approach that they may need to do something earlier. Now, we don't expect anything in the next year, but the market will start moving with a strong dollar if we keep getting strong numbers from now on, now that the Fed's talked, right? So just keep an eye on things. Try and gauge your what's going on in the dollar, right? If anything, you could be moving this support trend line to the downside. Don't forget, when these trend lines move, okay, don't give them extra weighting more than they really should be, right? So moving this low here, for instance, to over here, the overall trend on the dollar is down. So yeah, this is a support trend line, but it's not, not the be all to end all. If I can get that out. All right. So anyway, good time to update your charts. I think the dollar is a buy on dips at this point. I'll be updating all my charts and looking for opportunities to get in with a little bit of momentum on these currencies, right? Particularly Euro, Sterling, Aussie, Kiwi make a lot of sense to me. Dollar Swiss is dragging its heels, but it will kick into gear if the dollar starts to run, or euro. So keep an eye out for that. Dollar yen, well, you know what? I think dollar yen's been doing its own thing, but if it's a dollar move, we will start to see some activity. And I'll just find that where that other low is. And you can see how closely the majors have been following the trend lines. I mean, we've got currencies in play, right? We've got dollar CAD's a little bit trickier, but the other pairs, you know what? They're giving us opportunities. They've got trend lines both sides of the market. I can just tune that up. And I think it's all to play for. So just hang on to your seats, because the coming into this third, fourth week of the month, right, there's less big impacting data. But I tell you what, it's a great time. This is when the currencies can start to shift and move. You know, the market's not all bent out of shape and getting all geared up for, you know, the big extreme moves that we see on the big data. We start to see the trend starting to form through this second tier data, especially after what the Fed have given us last week. All right, guys, there's my charts pretty much tuned up. I'm just going to sit back and wait for the momentum to come into the market, and hopefully we can get the dollar numbers and the euro numbers all lining up the right way to give us some pure direction. Have a good week, guys. Cheerio.